Boku no Hero Academia has a large cast of characters, but I think the manga would benefit a lot more from choosing the characters who deserve their spots in the main cast. Hero focuses on the students at UA and splits them up into multiple classes. The two hero courses are Class 1A and Class 1B. The manga primarily focuses on the members of Class 1A, but the issue with this is that there are some characters who aren't in Class 1A but are better than a lot of the characters in Class 1A. I have a video on the complex characters of Hero, so I'll let that do the talking. The ones that stand out are Midoriya, Bakugo, and Todoroki. While the other characters are good in Class 1A, Monoma and Shinso's characters are far superior than theirs. Monoma is envious of 1A because they get all the limelight, regardless of how capable his class, 1B, may be, and is intent on proving that his class is better. Shinso has a strong hatred for people with quirks suited for hero work, because even though his quirk could be extremely useful as a hero, his is seen as villainous, and he wasn't put in the hero course simply because it didn't allow him to stand out in the entrance exam. Both of these characters have extremely well-written struggles and even somewhat prove their points during the sports festival. These two characters aren't done nearly enough justice. Monoma is reduced to a comic relief after his loss, and Shinso is nowhere to be seen until the most recent arc in the manga. These two characters deserve a lot more focus than most of the characters in 1A do. I don't think they should be part of Class 1A, because their struggles stem from not being part of that class. What I do suggest is first, having Monoma be taken more seriously. He was an actually menacing rival in the sports festival. After that, I believe that they should be included a lot more, to the point that they are mainer characters than the likes of Ida and Uraraka. I recognize that the current story arcs weren't structured to focus on the other classes, but I have an idea that still fits with Horikoshi's writing style. Recently, Hero decided to have a story arc with Endeavor as the main character, diving into his current struggles and character development. Monoma and Shinso should have their own arcs where they are the main characters. The focus would be to dive deeper into their problems and their mindset while showing how they plan to deal with them. For example, Shinso could have an arc showing how he got to the hero course, his training with Eraserhead, and the development of his new equipment. While I do think the current mystery to that is kind of cool, I feel the manga would be a lot more mature and nuanced if this was an actual story arc, and the benefits of this would outweigh the benefits of the mystery aspect. For Monoma, since 1A has dealt with villains a few times, I think his personal story arc should deal with him trying to get his class to defeat or survive an encounter with villains to match up to his rivals. Whether he accomplishes his goals or not can set the kind of message Horikoshi would want to display for this arc. His extreme desire to surpass 1A could be put in a realistic light and display the consequences of dealing with villains. For more on Monoma's side, I think that bits of Monoma's side of the hero license exam should have been shown. If we want to go further, his full story of how he passed each stage should be shown. Small cuts to these characters while they aren't the main characters of the arc would also help. Things like this would really emphasize the struggle of quirks, classes, and recognition. For examples of putting the best characters forward, I'll use Bleach and Naruto. In the Soul Society arc, Bleach introduced a plethora of new characters, but in the next arc, it would be impossible to manage all of them, so Kubo chose the best characters and had them join Ichigo in the human world. Renji, Ikaku, Toshiro, Kenpachi, and Byakuya were the best new characters of the Soul Society arc. They all had interesting pasts and room for development. Kubo chose the first three to go to the human world, which was a good decision, because Toshiro, Byakuya, and Kenpachi were all captains, and sending 3 captains away would be overboard. But then he chose Kenpachi and Byakuya along with others to be the ones who save the main characters in a later arc. Kubo knows which characters are the most interesting, and puts as much focus on them as he can. For Naruto, many characters were introduced in the Chunin exams, raising our main cast to 12. Out of those 12, he chose the ones that stood out most in the exams to go on the Sasuke recovery mission. Shikamaru had his epic fights against Keen and Tamari, along with his respectable sacrifice. Lee had his powerful history and his epic battle against Gaara. Neji had an intriguing philosophy, his hype, his tragic history, and his battle against Naruto. All 3 of these characters, along with some others, were chosen to have focus put on them in the recovery mission because Kishimoto knew they were good characters. And then he even brings back Gaara in this arc, another one who stood out in the exams due to his mentality, deadly abilities, and his fight against Lee. Horikoshi has characters that are potentially equal to those of Bleach and Naruto in terms of depth, but by not giving them the amount of focus and screen time that they deserve, he's unintentionally restricting the max potential that hero has. If Horikoshi took a step back and looked at the characters he had, and put forth his best, those that deserved their screen time, this manga could be much greater than it already is. Thank you for watching. Follow me on Twitter, like, share, comment, and subscribe for more content.